yes. Cutting those drugs of hers into little lines with a knife. Masturbating.
Everything in him fills with impossible longing, all at once.
Did you make that hole?
With a clip-point knife.
Good for listening in, too, for hearing the moaning and the snorts.
Like that, too? Yes. Bending like a bow against the glass. I've been through all of Martinez, every nook and cranny. Yes, that too. The things they did in that little room. What she'd do to feel good. Funny the way light works. You turn it on inside, and it gets so dark out, you can't see a man looking in. I learned that in the 20s, when they were still hunting me. I've seen people do some shit, but...
Those two took the cake. You hear the familiar scribble of the lieutenant's pen. A quick glance at you. One more loose end down. We're doing this, detective.
How did you get in there, the hidden pinball workshop?
I can just walk in there now after a good wash. I told you, they think I'm an antisocial. Closing hour is a good time. The kitchen's empty.
You had to open the steel door in the kitchen? How?
I got that open a long time ago. Some bourgeois game merchant lived there. I don't know, 15 years ago. He left spare keys all over, and I took one. Then I saw her turn the light on one night in my scope.
Andy found use for it. A spare key, like the one hanging behind the Union Box window.
One more thing. The flowers, Mr. Dross. The dried flowers that were on the roof.
What about them?
There, he's already admitted to it. Just ask.
I did. I shouldn't have. It was a mistake. I was there one night, and she was crying. Like a child. The day out. Yes?
It's as if something put the neither in. One more down.
Her.
The lieutenant nods at you in acknowledgement. That's it. Motive. We have it.
Where is she, that Classier? I haven't seen her there for days. I know she's gone. Locked up, or on the run. She kept staring into the scope, you know. In the end, this last week, at the fort, like she knew. Like she knew I was here. It doesn't matter.
Across the water, on a dilapidated jetty in a nameless village, made of grey cinder block houses with Eternite roofs, 2 police officers and 1 special consultant look across a narrow strip of sea. He's there, doing what exactly, I don't know. Satellite Officer Vitmer points at the ruins. Behind that anti-aircraft something. That's why we can't see him. Special Consultant Heidelstein is optimistic. We'll see the boat when he comes. Let's go get a coffee until then. I know this interesting little place. Where? His voice trails off as the 3 walk down the jetty. As the men go, Patrol Officer Minnow looks back over her shoulder at the crumbling fortification like a rotten tooth rising out of the water. Good luck, Harry, she thinks. You need something good for this.
We could get more. We've got him talking.
You could get more out of him. He likes talking.
A tragic comedy. Druggies, prostitutes, and rentiers.
A strange little engine seems to fire up in him again. It straightens his back. The familiar put-put-put of hatred.
specifically, the whole city is a charnel house, stripped clean and draped in neon. But Martinez is the worst. Because of the racists, everyone is a racist in Martinez. It's their favorite thing to do in the whole world, listening to race-themed radio shows. In the ruins, in their lorries. Pumped full of steroids and Radio Revachol 92. Race this, race that. It's all sanctioned by that Social Democratic Union and the farce of a Social Democrat who runs it. Yes, the fly larva in his container. He let some nihilistic advertising yuppies erect a statue of Philippe III, a syphilitic murderer, on the town square, to spit on the working class. Not since the serfs of ancient Pericarnassus has history produced a more inert social class than the Martinez proletariat. The rest of Revachol at least pretends to rebuild. These people still live in ruins. In tents, like animals, like those boom-boom morons on the ice. A pity they didn't drown in that tent of theirs. The worst of them is the blood-drenched Sucrion on her yacht, licking her lips. The old whore's gone now. Her gun-toting porcelain men are dead. So, actually, no. The worst is that old cop parading around in his uniform, throwing balls all day. It's not enough that the racists and liberals are dancing on our graves. The old loyalist ghouls still parade the ruins too. Every morning he's there, while the parasites he fought to protect are off in Ozon, or Coyamoran, or some other island they built their palaces on, feeding on drugs and having sex with their own children. That's all the rich really want. Sex with their own children. Throughout history, even the royal bloodline of the suzerain, it's all just an excuse for them to have sordid sex. At least that old cunt, Frisell, is now dead. We did good when we pushed him under that horse car. If only, in the 30s, those disco whores...
The disco whores are too much. Hatred shuts down his brain's language center, leaving only a nonsensical sputter. There was something about a statue and nihilistic advertising agency people might be worth investigating.
Whores. Syphilis is a disease Philippe III contracted in a whorehouse. The statue is an abomination. The bacteria entered his brain and made him squander trillions on sparkling wine, cocainum, and monuments of himself. His son, Philip IV, the insane, contracted syphilis in the womb.
That is technically possible, although Philippe III was not actually syphilitic. He was just mad.
And he still went on to govern Revachol for 25 years. We lost 2 million lives toppling that mode of government. And those grotesque statues too. Hundreds of them. What a keen remark. Yes, it is, isn't it? It's still there. Do you know why? I do. Some advertising cockroaches use their accumulated capital to erect a new, ironic version of it. We tore it down with honest, working-class plastic explosives. But there it is again, grinning. Art is a bourgeois establishment. It's an affront to humanity. Every gallery should be bulldozed, and the artists should all be given 30 years of hard labor in Yekokata. Another hideous disappointment. Unions are the real enemy, the true enemy of the proletariat, placating the masses.
Disappointment, so personal. He displays a familiarity with the union's top brass.
That deformed toad? I wouldn't expect him to wipe his own ass. I mean, the brains of the operation, the smart one. That mobster toad couldn't run a shithouse. He has no political education. His twin, Edgar Clare, that one's been to one of those East Revachol universities. He talks a big game about uprising and alienation and so on.
He's been sweet-talked by this Edgar. They must have met in person for such animosity to have developed.
You can't live alone.
The Clares wouldn't miss a man hidden in their own backyard. Not all this time. Nothing happens in Martinez without them knowing.
Of course. Maybe the Clears asked him to. Don't go straight for the kill. Exhaust everything else first. Soften him up.
I haven't approached anyone. I hid. It was Edgar who came to me.
How did he know you were here?
He didn't just stumble in like an oaf. He figured it out. Some kids told him about a monster on the island. I told you, he has brains. Stepped right off the boat and walked down where you came. I even kept the door open for him. Thought he was a man of the left, wouldn't rat me out. I was right about one of those things. 20 years ago, neither of them could walk now, could they? They were less fat then.
That's around the time the Clears came to power.
Edgar did the talking. Paid his respects like I were a fossil in a uniform. Offered platitudes about the struggle. Flaunted his pink degree. Even quoted Marzoff. Never trust a social democrat who quotes Marzoff. Oh, and charity, too. They love their charity. Offered me blankets and social housing. I still have the gas cooker he brought. Let me be here. The ZOC is an unlawful successor of the Commune of Revachol. We took this fortification from the Loyalists. Even the Clares understand this.
They let him be here. Understanding was a courtesy. But why such a courtesy?
You know why I killed that fucker, Duat. As to Edgar, I'm not doing anything for that swine again.
Again? What have you done for Edgar before?
Tried teaching him some Marzovian socioeconomics. They didn't stick. We parted ways.
Okay, he didn't do the hanged man for them, but he's insinuating something.
Every fucking morning for 34 years. Throwing that ball. One ball against the other. I've always loathed that game. That is not a working class game. I don't care what they say on Radio June. Royalist ghouls played like it was life itself. Click, clack across the water each day. And that uniform, like a parrot plumage. I won't even mention that he's a traitor to his race. A Patank maniac race traitor. I remember him. I remember him from La Noce. Not him, personally. his make and model. There were tens of thousands of them. I thought we took them all out before the liberals came to their rescue. We missed that one.
There doesn't seem to be a single person under the pine today. Not even Gaston. Alone.
Fat and plump, like a pheasant, just begging to be popped off. Please, Mr. Dross, shoot me. Not yet. I like to look at him strut around, place the crosshair on his medals, right on his face, and just fiddle the trigger. Think about it. Let the bomb melt in my mouth.
Save the treat for later?
He is a juicy bonbon, that one. A real treat for the black day, the blackest. When I put that gun in my own mouth, I think, no, don't waste it. Put this lead in that cock, René. For the boys he killed. And then I look at him throw those balls, and I suddenly feel better. I even hid one bullet, so I'd always have one for him. Haven't seen him around lately, strutting around. Must be down with arthritis. I hope it hurts like hell. I hope he sweats blood.
Hearing it may destabilize him. You sure you've gotten everything from him?
No. I waited too long. I waited too long, and now he's dead?
I'm sorry, Mr. Dross. I understand you knew him for a long time.
They're all dead now. Fuck it. All human beings care about each other. I cared for seeing his head explode. Now, God damn this world.
He reminded him of himself. The same hatred. The same. You try to think of something else, but no, it's just hatred.
Fuck you. You think I haven't seen people die? It's all I've seen them do. Fuck and die. All the other plans we had. To love. To colonize the Pale. It's all fucked.
He's not okay. This is just another black day in a row of black days. Something strange is keeping him together, making him endure. Oh no, the connection doesn't come to you on such a pivotal moment. Dumbo, do something. You can't zone out now. This isn't Doodaloo dance time.
What?
To your right, you see the lieutenant give you a quick sideways glance.
About this deal you made with Edgar. The death of the colonel mercenary was only coincidentally beneficial to the Clares. But what about the other people you've killed for them?
Other people?
Like the previous 4 women of the Union.
That's it. That's what you weren't connecting yourself.
I didn't fight 40 years to end up an informant for the international regime. What happened, happened.
Still dumb, your eyes are transfixed on his digit. It's yellow with nicotine. You are the law. He must divulge the information.
Look who's up. From the drunken stupor. This one's worse for wear than me. And so emotional. Life is hard for us human beings in deregulation hell, isn't it?
We will have plenty of time to talk about this later, Mr. Dross. When you're in pre-detention, it can take years in pre-detention.
Go ahead. I've been in solitary confinement my whole life.
Ease off it. This was not an unmitigated disaster. The lieutenant mitigated it. Just proceed, calmly.
Glad we talked about what?
His lip curls.
Glad we talked about what?
What strikes you about this gaunt man is not the stomach pain, or the cough, or the malnutrition. For a man who's spent 44 years hidden in the urban wild. Indeed, he speaks fluidly. His movements are rapid, if erratic. His voice, despite the cough, is there. It is capable of expressing complicated ideas. Above all, he seems animated. It's a mystery. This animation comes at a cost too. Erratic hand gestures, thought processes cut off like threads, as he just stares at the logs or the reeds. He also suffers mood swings, bubbling to the surface, unconstrained by his nervous system. Great leaps of emotion, from anger to grief, despair. You've seen demented people before. This feels similar, yet different. When his thoughts move, they are lucid, keen even, not senile. Is this some kind of substance damage? Like he's addicted to something? Not only the painkillers he's clearly on.
No. I won't be stuffed full of shit like the rest of this city.
It's not a downer, rather an upper, judging by his snaps.
Like some kind of decadent rock star. No, I'm not okay. I shit blood, and I'm surrounded by insane people.
There it is again. Erratic hand motions, bouts of rage, and the stomach thing too, of course. Could it be a symptom of overdosing on something? Something even you have not tried? Keep your eyes peeled.
What? But you said I would be taken to the...
This terror is the sum of all the uncontrollable movements and mood swings he's been exhibiting.
Your Wayfarer rights have been suspended. Information provided to the officers on the scene will be used against you by the prosecution. You will be given legal counsel within 1 week and must face court in 44 days. Do you understand? Do you understand?
But... No, I don't want to. I have to stay here.
He's sweating. Beads are forming on his forehead. Pupils are dilated too. Eyes getting blacker and blacker.
Your confirmation is not required, sir. Now on to the boat. Not really. We could escort him to the pier, then either one of us can take him inland while the other stays here, but...
There's something you're not getting here that he's realizing.
Who watches over him there while I come back for you?
Something is happening. Stop. Lillian, you could ask her maybe.
This is no harmless old man.
This fucking world. This world. What is this?
No, listen. Listen now. There it is again, to your north, as it has been since you came to the coast. The reeds whisper, stalks rubbing against each other, but then, in the middle of it, something completely different. It sounds like a bow, very slowly being drawn against the strings of a violin, a very small violin, made of reeds and rushes.
Maybe there is room for 3 on the boat. What?
What are you talking about? Is this really us?
Your skin crawls. A delicate tangle of arms and legs unfolds from the reeds, limb by limb, to then just stand there, moving its scythe-like arms in ghostly silence. It's still there, an unfolding mechanism of reed-like chitin, hovering in place.
What are you talking about? There's nothing there.
The stick insect is over 3 meters tall. It looks straight at you with its tiny pinprick eyes and its grotesquely small head. You feel your legs shaking under you and your gun hand rise instinctively.
Tell me what you see, damn it. I can't make out one small thing in the reeds.
I can see it.
4 simple words, thank God. If you can see, then you're not insane. What that means, it's really there, spinning slowly, in absolute silence, its limbs long and slender.
Be very, very careful.
The creature stands on long stilt-like legs, antennae hanging from his head like a woman's hair, white and curled at the tips. It is no more than 5 steps away from you. The segmented antennae move with apprehension, searching for something that's not there. Reed-like tufts stick out of its joints. As the insect moves its forearms, it produces a faint hiss, like a reel-to-reel machine spinning after the tape breaks. The hiss is different from the strings you heard before. It says something else in a lower pitch. Be afraid. You smell wrong.
It is.
You glance over your shoulder. The lieutenant holds a piece of milled aluminium. He begins to pull it open, extremely carefully. It's the camera.
We need a photo. No one will believe us.
From the corner of your eye, you see a sudden cascade of motion ripple through the phasmid's limbs. A series of ultrasonic clicks fills your ear.
I won't be one of those fools who didn't take a picture.
You see the phasmid turn to him, its mandible antennae reaching out. Its motions are quick, sudden.
Shh. Okay.
The spindly mechanism turns itself back to you, its antennae taking their measure of the air, slowly. Nothing changes in the cyclical brain motion of the creature's limbs. They are porcelain white on the inside and reed-colored on the out, beige, light brown, and striped. You are unsure if it is scared or not. Its insect mind is impenetrable to your reasoning. Slowly, breath held, you take 2 small steps toward the phasmid. The creature lets out a series of ultrasonic clicks that swarm around your head like swallows. Like laughter, a sort of happiness. Hissing and clicking, it extends its mandible-like antennae to greet you. You're right below it now, looking up at the colossal chitin of its white limbs. The head of the creature is crowned by reeds, and its eyes are like small droplets of water. The insect stops its stridulation, seeming to observe you. Below its crown of reeds, little pinprick eyes detect motion, glittering. The world stands still around you. Suddenly, there is silence. The invertebrate comes back to life, stridulating. Sets of complex eyes follow you, moving in tandem on either side of the insect's small head. No reply. A total ancient silence comes from its mouth, along with what appears to be some kind of foam. The stridulations of its limbs continue all around you. You were right. Little bubbles form on the mouth parts of the creature, on its segmented lower lip. It looks to be foaming, slowly. The foam is white, then yellowish. The faintest smell, like you've never felt before, like burnt roses.
Careful, it may be poisonous.
The foam slowly turns a darker shade, like burnt caramel, as the insect moves its mouth parts, masticating. The little bubbles begin to burst, one by one, letting out that same smell, like summer burning. Apricot blossoms, white blossoms erupting, a sensation like cold hands on your face.
I exist. Tell me what it's like for you. Yes, holy is the Lord of hosts, and all the earth is filled with his glory. Now, I will tell you what it's like for me. For me, it is a series of half-lit images, a kind of darkness, being intruded upon, transient, dim, moist. Shapes of plants and animals, and internal sensations, a swarm of sounds, tiny vibrations on the inside of my forearms, all speak of complexities totally beyond my understanding. I am at the end of a narrow funnel, weightless, so light, it only feels like something to be me. In truth, perhaps I'm nothing. I certainly do not have a soul, and if I did, it would never ache. Few of us can begin to imagine the horror of you, with all of creation reflected in your forebrain. It must be like the highest of hells, a kaleidoscope of fire and writhing glass, eternal damnation. Even when you're sleepy, and when you wake, you carry it around on your neck, with eyes open that cannot help but swallow more behind the mirror. I feel great, mute empathy for you. That must be incredibly hard. The arthropods are in silent and meaningless awe of you. Know that we're watching. When you're tired, when the vision spins out of control, the insects will be looking on, rooting for you. And when you fall, we will come to raise you up, but from you, banner-like, blossom from you and carry you apart in a sky funeral in honor of your passing. But not me, because I'm just a leaf eater.
In honor of your will, Lieutenant Euphrator, that you kept from falling apart in the face of sheer terror, day after day, second by second. Detective, arriving on the scene.
So am I. I was born to detect sucrose rewards and semiochemicals. What were you born to detect? I can also detect pheromones. The ones on you tell me that you will not eat me, and that I will benefit from your closeness. In short, I love you. No, you are awake. I am real. Light is foaming me. This is real. Not even the birds know that. Not even the water lily. You can also eat it. If it's a leaf, you can put it in your mouth. Yum yum. Or read. I am an unknown species of the order Phantasmodia, endemic to the Insulandia Isoma. For the last 350 years, I have hidden in plain sight, masquerading as the reeds, molding, cloning myself, unfolding at night to play with trash bins and boys. I went unnoticed by the first settlers and the land surveyors of the suzerain, also by the soldiers of the revolution and the officials of the occupation. Even the Semernese islanders who came here first, but did not stay, have not seen me. I have stayed hidden through 4 forms of government and 2 scientific revolutions, until I was accidentally discovered by a detective of the citizen militia in Revelshop, district of Martinez, March 51. No, you are. The moral of our encounter is, I am a relatively median life form, while it is you who are a total extreme madness, a volatile simian nerve system ominously new to the planet. The Pale too came with you. No one remembers it before you. The Nidarians do not. The radially symmetrics do not. There is an almost unanimous agreement between the birds and the plants that you are going to destroy us all. You are a violent and irrepressible miracle. The vacuum of cosmos and the stars burning in it are afraid of you. Give me enough time, you will wipe us all out and replace us with nothing. Just by accident. We suspect it will be something like the oxygen holocaust that wiped out anaerobic life 2.6 billion years ago, when organisms first started breathing. Only much worse.
Instead of air, you exhale thoughts. There are no trees that eat thoughts.
Everything your eyes touch goes back there, behind the nose mirror. What if you blink? Are we still here? Please don't blink. What if he misplaces us all one day, or just forget? Please be. Or one day, one of you will close your eyes and sigh, and open them to see that none of this ever existed.
It doesn't look like that, no. You're just staring at it. I think we should take the picture, and then you should back away from the unstudied species.
No, there is one more. Thank you. I also have one more thing to say to you before you go. That woman, turn from the ruin. Turn and go forward. For all mankind. She was hell on earth. It doesn't take a 3-meter stick insect to tell you that.
Okay.
There is no change in the insect's motion while it's being aimed by the camera. It remains fixated on you.
In 3. If it moves, you jump back. I'll shoot. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
The shrill flash of the camera cuts the air like the blade of a sword. The phasmid freezes in its bright light. Head turned toward the lieutenant. Hypnotized by the flash, it stands frozen before you.
I got it.
For all time. The antennae hang from a great height. With your hand shaking, you barely touch the tip of the left whisker. On contact, the kiting curls into a spiral, like the tip of a poison ivy. Its touch on your fingertip feels cold, ticklish. The sensation is electrifying, resounding through your body. It is surprisingly delicate, the curly end of the whisker, like a young vine. It's even a bit wet.
Be careful, detective. It's moving.
Feels like nothing. The arthropod in front of you stays frozen. It tastes like sugar, very faint. The arthropod towers above you, tufts of reeds pointed from limb and head alike. Odorless, mostly comprised of water. The limb before you is incredibly light, like eggshell. It's much lighter than a reed. You feel a soft push could tip the creature over. Its hollow exoskeleton collapsing. A small shudder passes the creature's arm. High above you, its black pearl eyes still glisten, mesmerized by the light passing its nervous system. There is some kind of countdown happening as it slowly processes the overwhelming brightness of the signal. The invertebrate is regaining control. The stimulus overloaded it. It's passing like an extended moment or a gallstone. Here, within the smooth white inner part of its limb, you sense something very intimate. Thoughts. Another shudder passes through the forearm under your palm. Feels like blood pumping through a brain. It's coming to. You withdraw your hand slowly. Another shudder pulses through the creature's limbs. It jolts back to life, like a record continuing where it left off, in a swaying, praying motion. Even the small black pearls of its eyes do not stray from you. As you're turning away, the phasmid mirrors your movements, stepping on the water, the long limbs carrying its feather weight without breaking its surface. And just like that, it's gone, skating away across the sea's calm mirror like a skipping stone, leaving nothing but circles on the water. And something under it, in the place it stood, bobbing there, among the reeds, a collection of items.
It's gone. Apparently, yes, like a water strider. Only, I've never seen anything like that in my life. Looks like a nest of some sort. We should have a look.
What now?
In some kind of strange, semi-catatonic state.
Our suspect is not looking so good. We need to check on him.
This passport, issued by the Sovereign Republic of Oranje, is issued to a black-haired woman called Katarzyna Alazie.
Classia's hidden documents from the MT boy.
It's Klasia, with short black hair and glasses. She looks boyish, younger somehow. An old photo, before life came and did what it does.
Maybe our man, Mr. Dross, took it from Classia's, or whatever her name was, hiding place, or... Perhaps, but that still doesn't explain how it got into the nest. Like a magpie? What a coincidence. Then it would also have collected the other objects, which would be highly unusual. I can see how the helmet could wash up on the island, and the scope. Maybe Mr. Dross lost it, but to seek this out would be very unusual behavior for an arthropod.
Would it? Maybe it was simply curious.
An octopus belongs to a very different class. It's not even an insect, it's a mollusk. But yes, I see your point. She said it would be for Anouk Meyer-Smith. Anouk Meyer-Smith. Yes, somehow she managed to lie to us, one more time. In a way, she's still lying to us right now. I don't know, but it was not Katarzyna Alazie, or Anouk Meyer-Smith, or Klasie. Whoever she is, when we get back, I need to warn our holding cells. We need to double the security around her.
What is it?
Something is very wrong with him now.
See.
Mr. Dross?
The man does not respond. He keeps staring, black eyes glazed over and bulging from their sockets, his gap-toothed mouth shaking, with fear and longing. Like an addict of some terrible substance. A light shiver passes him, followed by nothing. His hands are trembling, and he breathes slowly.
He's going into some kind of psychomotor immobility. The good news is, this solves our transportation problem, doesn't it, Mr. Dross?
The trembling mouth appears to sigh.
Between this and the broken tire he's used for a boat, I think it's safe to leave him here, while we go and get help. It will need to be medical first, I'm afraid.
He stares into the reeds. Your words don't stir anything in him. Perhaps you should. Nothing. Just dull staring. Not even rage left, wherever he is.
If Kuno kicked it into the sea, as he said he did, the ebb would put it back here. This makes sense. Mr. Dross could have picked it up. Or the Phasmid even. If it did, this is incredible.
No reaction. His breathing is slow, and he appears very old all of a sudden, around 80.
Did you take this passport and other papers from a boy on the coast?
The spirits.
He hears us. The spirit?
No reply. He's gone again.
Try something else? We got him back for a moment.
I lost.
He turns his eyes to the reeds again, as he's done so many times. Beige and white stripes.
He lost the scope. Then it somehow made its way over there, with the help of a magpie phasmid. This sight is a T9, Mr. Dross. Was it attached to the rifle when you made the shot?
Silence. Not even a sigh. You've gotten all you will out of this poor being. The plastic cape flaps around his face in a gust of wind. His back is slouched and his mouth open. The blacks of his eyes are receding. His pupils are returning to normal.
Old age and shock. Yes, the arrest and the appearance of the phasmid, the combined stress. But you think it's something more than that, don't you?
There's much more. Remember what it said when it spoke. Quite a few things about that health check you did on him make sense now.
He was energetic and articulate. After all these years alone, with little hygiene or medication, I would expect worse. It does not seem to be animated now it's left. Honestly, I'm ready to believe anything at this point. Maybe it is psychoactive. I mean, why not? It's 3 meters tall. That could be part of the shock. But you're right, something is off here. Mr. Dross.
No response.
Then how did we see it? Oh, you mean, whatever does this, does it over time? Teenagers, kids, drunks, sightings are brief, and hence not credible. But anyone who spends a long time with it. Mr. Dross, have you ever seen a stick insect pretending to be the reeds? The doctors will have to look at this. I hope your station has better medical personnel than 57. This is a little advanced for a nurse. Like a drug? His pupils appear to be dilated. They still are.
It's not just chemical.
Some kind of oxytocin release mechanism? Would go with the pupils. But this is way above me, detective. He did seem distressed when it finally came to arresting him. Like he didn't want to leave this place. And the insect, maybe. I have absolutely forgotten to take notes. I hope I remember all of this. This will be one hell of a report. Thank God we have the photo. We should think about getting back to the mainland. To get help. He'll be safe here. If we don't take too long.